Right now, tonight, there are neighborhoods in Spokane that simply don't exist anymore. A fire jumped a river, tore through a state park, climbed the canyon walls, and drove straight into people's backyards. More than 600 homes and structures are gone. 60,000 people had to leave everything behind and run. And here's the part that should worry you most. Every single one of the 3 major fires burning in Spokane County right now sits at 0% containment. Today is Monday, August 3rd, 2026, and this situation is still very much alive. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to walk you through the whole picture. Every major fire burning across Washington state right now, exactly which roads are closed and which neighborhoods are under evacuation orders. And then the part 1 really wants you to stick around for what the weather is about to do over the next 3 days, because that forecast is going to decide whether crews start gaining ground or whether this gets worse. Let's get into it. Before we zoom into Spokane specifically, you need to understand why this year has gone the way it has. Washington is sitting in its 4th straight year of drought, 4 consecutive years of critically low moisture, and this past winter's snowpack across the Cascades came in well below normal, which meant the ground was already drying out before spring even finished. Back in April, the state's Department of Ecology declared a statewide drought emergency months ahead of peak fire season. The National Interagency Fire Center had forecast above-average fire risk for the entire state through August, and unfortunately, they nailed it. More than 1,000 separate fires have ignited across Washington so far this year, and roughly 425,000 acres have burned, the most since 2021, with weeks of fire season still ahead. Lawmakers doubled the firefighting budget this year to $120 million, and even that is being stretched thin. The technical number that matters here is called the energy release component, basically a measure of how much fuel is available to burn, and it's sitting at the 19th to 95th percentile statewide. In plain terms, the grass, brush, and timber across the state are primed to ignite the moment wind and heat show up. Now let's talk about what happened in Spokane, because this is the story that's making national headlines. Spokane is Washington's 2nd largest city, home to about 229,000 people. This past Saturday, 3 separate wildfires broke out around the metro area at nearly the same time: the Old Trails Fire, the Autumn Lane Fire, and the Fairview Fire. Together, they're now being managed as one incident called the Spokane Complex, and combined, they've already burned more than 7,700 acres. As of Sunday evening, all 3 remain completely uncontained. The Old Trails Fire is responsible for almost all of the destruction, so let's slow down here. It started just before noon on August 1st near Old Trails Road and West Euclid Road, north of Airway Heights. Southwest winds gusting anywhere from 35 to 45 miles an hour grabbed the fire and pushed it north and east at a speed crews couldn't keep up with. It tore through Riverside State Park, jumped straight across the Spokane River, and climbed uphill directly into the Indian Trail neighborhood. Part of the reason it moves so violently is the geography itself. The Spokane River Canyon acts almost like a wind tunnel, funneling and accelerating fire behavior in ways that are hard to predict. Benjamin Kell, with the California-based Federal Incident Management Team now running the response, put it simply, weather and terrain are both working against them. By Sunday, the fire had burned somewhere between 3,500 and 3,600 acres. Spokane Fire Chief Cody Rawback confirmed 640 structures destroyed, the vast majority of them homes inside city limits. According to California Incident Management Team 7, entire blocks in the Indian Trail and 5 Mile Prairie neighborhoods are now nothing but foundations. Spokane's Mayor Lisa Brown didn't soften it at Sunday's press conference. She called it the worst natural disaster this region has ever faced. The other 2 fires in the complex are smaller but still dangerous. The Autumn Lane Fire has burned about 3,351 acres near the 5 Mile area, and while commanders say they have relatively decent control of its boundary, 0% containment means it can still move without warning. The Fairview Fire, the smallest of the 3 at around 156 acres, is burning about 2 miles northeast of Spokane near Meade, and according to federal fire reports, it's showing extreme behavior: wind-driven runs, crowning through treetops, and short-range spotting near energy infrastructure. Evacuation zones across all 3 fires are large, they overlap, and they're still shifting. So keep checking Spokane County Emergency Management directly rather than relying on secondhand information. Right now, Level 3 Go Now orders cover the area north of Francis Avenue and west of Division Street. Level 2 Get Set warnings extend out toward the Magnesium Road corridor, and Level 1 Get Ready zones stretch even further. If you're in any of these zones, don't wait until you can see flames. When the order comes, you leave immediately. As of Sunday evening, at least 60,000 residents had been ordered out of the Spokane area, and 409 families spent the night at the Spokane Convention Center, which is also accepting small pets. The Spokane County Fairgrounds is open as a secondary shelter. The good news so far is that no fire-related deaths or serious injuries have been confirmed. The sobering part is that Mayor Brown was careful to say the city is still assessing whether lives were lost in areas crews haven't been able to safely reach yet. There's one more thing that happened Sunday that needs to be said directly because it's putting lives at risk. Firefighters reported 26 separate unauthorized drone incursions over the active fire lines in Spokane in a single day. Every time a drone enters that airspace without authorization, helicopters and air tankers have to be grounded until it's clear because a mid-air collision would be catastrophic. If you fly a drone anywhere near an active fire, you are personally responsible for grounding the aircraft trying to save people's homes. This isn't a suggestion, it's federal law. Spokane isn't the only fire zone burning in Washington right now, though, so let's go around the rest of the state quickly. The largest fire in Washington by far is the Kaiser Canyon fire in Okanogan County near Cooley Dam. It ignited July 16th and has already burned somewhere between 131,000 and 134,000 acres, over 200 square miles from a single ignition, and it's only 30 to 38% contained despite more than 1,000 personnel assigned to it. If you're near the Colville Reservation in Haley Creek, Armstrong Meadows, Omak Lake, or Empire Creek Road, you are under a Level 3 Leave Now order. Nespelum, Moses Mountain, West Fork, Coyote Creek, and Cache Creek are all at Level 2, meaning pack your vehicle and be ready to go at any moment. State Route 155 is closed in two separate sections, and both Coyote Creek Road and Cache Creek Road are shut to all traffic. In Ferry County, the Maud-Wright fire has escalated hard over the past 2 days. It started July 17th from a lightning strike near Lake Roosevelt, and in a single 24-hour stretch, it grew by roughly 17. In 500 acres, with containment actually dropping from 63% down to 30% overnight. It's now over 37,000 acres total, and FEMA has already approved federal disaster funds for it. This fire is directly threatening Inchelium's core infrastructure, the community center, the tribal EMS building, the fire and rescue station, the library, a child care center, and a wood treatment plant. The Gifford Ferry is closed, so if you're evacuating from the eastern side of the reservation, use the Inchelium Highway or State Route 25 north toward Kettle Falls. Inchelium itself, along with Lynx Mountain, Rainy Ridge, Spud Cellar Road, Round Lake, Twin Lakes, Box Canyon, Cotta, and Keller are all under Level 3 orders. For anything Colville specific, the Tribal Broadcast System on Facebook is the place to follow. Up in Stevens County, the Burdine Hill fire near Lake Roosevelt started July 25th and has burned between 3,800 and 4,200 acres, sitting at just 3 to 7% contained. Level 3 orders cover the Gifford area, the Gifford Road is fully closed, and there's a Red Cross shelter open at Jenkins High School, with large animal evacuation happening at the Okanogan County Rodeo Grounds. Near Tonasket, the Sinlahekin fire has grown past 36,000 acres and remains at 0% containment. An out-of-state incident management team has been brought in specifically to protect communities throughout the Sinlahekin Valley, where both Level 2 and Level 3 orders are active. Northwest of Leavenworth in the Icicle Valley, the lightning-caused Little Giant fire has burned roughly 30,000 to 31,000 acres, also at 0% containment, and federal reports describe extreme fire behavior, crowning, long-range spotting, and fast uphill runs through steep timber. There's a full forest closure order in effect across that section of the Okanogan-Wenatchee National Forest, so don't attempt to hike or camp there. Parts of Chelan County are under Level 3 orders. Check the county's ArcGIS incident map for the current boundary. And right up near the Canadian border, the Ptarmigan fire is burning in the Pasayten Wilderness at 13,000 to 14,000 acres, 0% contained. With several wilderness trails closed, the Forest Service website has the current list if you were planning to be out there. To fight all of this at once, the state has pulled together a genuinely massive response. More than 4,000 personnel from multiple states are currently deployed across eastern Washington. Washington's Commissioner of Public Lands, Dave Upthegrove, didn't dress it up on Sunday. He said plainly that crews are stretched thin. Governor Bob Ferguson activated 110 National Guard members to the fire lines, the first time the Guard has been called up for wildfire duty since 2021, and Army National Guard Black Hawk and Chinook helicopters have been running water drops since July 19th. The state fire marshal's office has mobilized 13 separate firefighting task forces across the state, with an additional one pre-staged in Kittitas County in anticipation of new fire starts as heat returns midweek. FEMA activated fire management assistance grants Sunday morning, which will cover up to 75% of eligible firefighting costs, and the state has also triggered the Emergency Management Assistance Compact to bring in even more out-of-state help. Okay, now let's get into the part that actually determines where this goes next, the weather. Saturday's disaster didn't come out of nowhere. A dry cold front pushed through the state with sustained winds of 20 to 30 miles an hour and gusts up to 50, peaking at 51 miles an hour in Ellensburg. Relative humidity dropped to just 11% in some spots, essentially desert dry air sitting on top of already parched vegetation. Those conditions were severe enough that the National Weather Service issued the first ever particularly dangerous situation red flag warning in Washington state history, a label reserved for fire weather that goes beyond the usual critical threshold. Today, Monday, the picture is mixed, so pay attention to the nuance here. The good news is that the worst of the wind event has passed. Winds have eased to 20 to 25 miles an hour in the basins and 25 to 35 along the Cascade Gaps, and humidity has climbed back to around 20 to 25%. That's meaningfully better than Saturday, but, and this is the part that matters, the fuels haven't recovered at all. That energy release component is still sitting at the 90th to 95th percentile, meaning the brush and timber are just as ready to burn as they were over the weekend. The Weather Service's own language is blunt. Any new or existing fire still has the potential to spread very rapidly. Tomorrow, Tuesday, is shaping up to be the best window crews are going to get in this entire stretch. Winds keep dropping, humidity partially recovers, and the fire weather threat level actually eases for the day. Expect crews to push hard to reinforce containment lines and protect structures while they have the chance, because every foot of line built tomorrow becomes a buffer against what's coming next. And what's coming next is the part one want you to really absorb. Temperatures start climbing Tuesday to around 84 degrees, then jump to near 90 on Wednesday. And by Thursday, we're looking at roughly 94 degrees, close to the all-time record for that date. That heat is arriving alongside winds that are expected to stay gusty and fuels that still haven't gotten a break. Essentially, no rain is forecast for eastern Washington through the entire week. Any moisture stays west of the Cascades, so there's nothing coming to help those fuel moistures recover. Whatever benefit this weekend's cooldown gave us gets erased almost as fast as it arrived. This isn't just a Washington problem right now either. Eastern Montana is dealing with sustained winds of 20 to 25 miles an hour, humidity as low as 10 to 15%, and fuel dryness above the 95th percentile. That's critical fire weather today. Eastern Idaho, particularly around the Snake River Plains near Pocatello and Idaho Falls, is seeing similar southwest winds in the same range, and parts of central and northeastern Montana into far western North Dakota are under threat from dry thunderstorms this afternoon, lightning that reaches the ground without any rain accompanying it, because the rain evaporates in the hot, dry air before it hits the ground. That kind of lightning is a classic ignition source, and with fuels this dry, it doesn't take much. The entire Pacific Northwest and Northern Rockies region is essentially fighting fire on multiple fronts simultaneously, and resources are being spread thin across state lines. If you're on the west side of the state, Seattle, Tacoma, Olympia, Bellingham, you've had a few days of cooler onshore flow protection, but that's about to change. The wind pattern flips offshore this week, temperatures climb back into the 80s, and smoke from the eastern fires is expected to start pushing into the Puget Sound corridor by Tuesday. Expect hazy skies and a noticeable smoke smell. If you're in an affected area, have N95 masks on hand. Keep windows and doors shut on heavy smoke days. And if you've got a home HVAC system, run it on recirculate rather than pulling in outside air. Kids, older adults, and anyone with asthma or COPD should limit time outdoors when air quality drops. You can check real-time conditions for your specific area at airnow.gov. If you're looking for a way to help the people who've lost everything, a few organizations are already coordinating relief. Second Harvest Inland Northwest is accepting non-perishable food donations. Catholic Charities Eastern Washington has set up an emergency fund specifically for displaced families. And United Ways of the Pacific Northwest is mobilizing housing assistance for people who need somewhere to stay. This is still very much an active, developing situation, and it's far from over. I'll be tracking the forecast closely and putting out updates as this changes, but please also keep an eye on your local National Weather Service office directly for the most current watches, warnings, and evacuation guidance for your specific county. If this video helped you understand what's actually happening out there, a like genuinely helps this information reach more people who need it, and subscribing with notifications on means you'll know the moment something changes. If you know anyone in Eastern Washington, Spokane, Okanogan County, or along any of these fire corridors, please pass this along to them. To every firefighter on these lines, every family that's lost a home, and every community watching the smoke and wondering what's next, we're thinking of you. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there.